Greetings, Patrick here. Welcome to Eight Questions with. It is a very chipper and cold southeastern Michigan evening. Thought we were going to get a little warm up here, and then it teased us, and then it said, "Nah, we'll throw a little bit more snow at you." So we got a little bit of snow this past weekend, and today was cold. Wow. Now we've had colder days, but for some reason it just impacted all of us a lot more. Everybody at the library was commenting on how cold it was walking into the building. And like I said, it's been colder before, but I don't know. My hands were hurting by the time I got to from the car to the library itself. My hands were hurting, and I didn't bring any gloves. That was my fault. Anyway, welcome to the show. We're going to be speaking with a filmmaker and TV horror host, Scarlet Fry, here in a few minutes. Looking forward to talking with Scarlet about his career. He also is a co-host or I guess you would say, yeah, co-host for a Facebook group, a horror Facebook group, Madame Cadaver's horror group. Now, we've already met Madame Cadaver or her assistant, Christy. Now we're going to be talking with the other one, Scarlet. All right, let's see. The chat is already going. Hey, Jerry, how are you, sir? How are you? Glad you're here. And there is Danielle Harris's biggest fan, Joseph, in the house. Haven't seen you for a minute. But I was thinking about you, Joseph. I was thinking about you, buddy, for real, because I was watching a movie with Scout Taylor Compton on it. And I'm going like, man, I wonder if Joseph has seen this movie. Let's see. So you're watching Kentucky play South Carolina. Okay, college basketball. Hell yeah. And there's Tony the Tiger. Hopefully he's doing well. He's so ready for Scream. I'm so ready for it to come on so it's over with. See, like last week, we were here at the same situation, and we're talking about the loss of Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall passed away last week at age 95. And then this morning, early in the morning, like around 1 o'clock in the morning, I got a ping on my phone, and I read that Robert Carradine had passed away. And yeah, I was saddened by that. But from what his brother had said, that Robert had been fighting. He'd been fighting a lot of health issues, and he'd been slugging it out for 20 years, and he just got tired, and he wanted to rest, and so he did. Hey, Prince, how are you, sir? Glad you're here. Let's see. I'm so happy I have Violet McGraw on my bucket list. You know, I actually did a movie with Violet McGraw. I reviewed one of her movies. That's interesting. I reviewed one of her movies. Good actress. So Robert Duvall, he was a fine actor. He could do anything. And what's really interesting is like a lot of us knew him, especially me. I knew more as a comedic actor. Of course, everybody knows about Revenge of the Nerds, and he did a lot of other comic turns. But I saw a different side of him that I had never seen before. No, I have not seen The Long Riders either. I need to fix that. But he did a Jesse Stone movie. Jesse Stone was a character written by Robert Parker, and in fact, and we've talked about his character on here before. We had an actress on here to talk about Jesse Stone, and yeah, we had a Polly Shannon on. She was in one of those movies, and so was Robert. Robert was in this movie called Sea Change, and he played an assassin, and it was so against type. I mean, I was really like, wow, I'd never seen that side of him before, and he was good, real good, because you're always expecting him to be Robert Carradine type, happy-go-lucky, charming, and he's not really. He's actually pretty pretty evil in Sea Change. So it was interesting to see him play different roles. He also played a role, an uncredited role, but he's in there. He's in there. He did a really one of my very favorite independent movies called Cross, and he's in that. He plays the evil doctor, and yeah, he was really good in that as well. Um, so it's really sad to see him pass, but I understand it. Uh, I'm definitely I definitely can understand it. I mean, um, what happened to him and how he held off, I get it. I get it. You get tired after a while of fighting all the time. You just want to rest, and so now he has that rest, and he will be sorely missed. All right, Scarlet Fry will be here, like I said before. Wow, he has so many fun movies. He's an actor, he's a director. He has done everything behind the scene of the cameras. He's done stunts. He's even done some editing. He's done some set decorating. I mean, he's the exact talent that any independent horror, any independent film production, but especially horror, is the guy who you really want to have on your team. This is a guy like when you put together your crew to do your filming. I'm surprised his name is not on more people's speed dial because he does everything: writing, producing, casting director, art director, he leads departments. I mean, he knows everything a little. He knows a little bit about everything. He is a multi hyphenate, so to speak, and do a little bit of everything like that. That should ensure you lots and lots of work. We're going to get into this tonight because I'm going to be doing a film review after I get done with this. But I'm going to be picking Scarlett's ear about a couple of things. I really want to get his opinion because I do respect his work, definitely, and looking forward to talking with him here in about 7 or 10 minutes. As far as the calendar goes, well, oh, you guys missed the show. Oh my gosh, you guys gotta go back and watch our show that we did on Sunday night. You have to go back and watch it. Um, ISC show we covered the Midnight Man, and oh my gosh, did we have a blast doing that? We were joined by special co-host Jen from Jen's Reviews from the Grave. We had myself, the Mighty Mary Wilson, and we had Ben. Ben from the Cadaver Club. We had a blast talking about that movie, featuring Lynn Shay and Robert Englund. Now, I liked the movie. Me and Mary, we liked the movie quite a bit. We liked it a little bit more than the other two, which is fine. That's exactly what we're looking for. You don't want everybody to like everything or dislike everything. That makes for very boring, a very boring podcast. But it was really cool to watch and talk and get into it. And I'm looking forward to next month because it's going to be Ben's turn. And of all the ISC midnight movies, the two movies, honestly, the three movies I thought for sure that we would have covered by now. We've only covered one, and that is actually the first one we did. I knew we were going to hit it. I just didn't know when, but I knew it was coming. And of course, that's the Human Centipede. And of course, Coriander from the Night Watch Zone, she picked that out for our very first show. I love her for that. But the other two movies that I thought we would really get into here on the ISC show, one would have been the Babadook. For sure, absolutely. I thought for sure by now we would have been hitting that. And the other one would have been Antichrist. I thought for sure by now we would have hit that movie as well. We have not. But I'm sure somebody will. But we have not hit the Babadook at all until March. So next March 29th, over on Cadaver's Club's channel, we will be talking about the infamous Babadook, with the kid that's screaming, the infamous kid. I know the story. The story looks great. And what's really weird is that movie was directed by Jennifer Kent. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to bring up our guest because it's 8 o'clock, and then I'll go ahead and finish my thought. All right, Scarlet, we're bringing you up. Ah.
Hi.
How you doing, sir?
Good.
I have plans for you tonight. I am going to be putting you on the director's spot on this. I was actually thinking, yes. Oh yeah, because I really want to know. And you're an independent horror director, and you've made quite a few films. You directed 10, it's not more. You made quite a few films. I really want to pick your brain on this, because after you and I are done here, I'm doing a for the first time. I honestly cannot remember where I've actually like just. Well, I mean, not me put it on the screen. I mean, I've seen some bad movies, but not quite like this. But I'm waiting. I'm gonna talk to you about it. I want to hear your opinion about it because I really want to know.
Okay. I've actually
I was
directed
talking about
5 movies and 2 shorts.
Pardon me?
I think you said 10 films, but sorry about my lisp. I have a dental issue going on.
Oh, okay.
But no, it's 5 films and 2 short films.
Okay.
And the 5 films are anthologies, so there's many short films.
Short films are the lifeblood of filmmakers. I really believe that. I mean, I encourage anybody who wants to get into film as a director. By all means, get into short films. Do short films.
Oh, absolutely.
I was just talking about how I was talking about me and Christy, we talked about when she was here. She said, you guys have you guys have done short films, and it's a different kind of format, isn't it? It's one where I guess it's sort of like it's a new format it's like a brand new canvas for a first time painter.
Yeah, I mean, in my case, it was a budget constraint, really, and a time constraint. But I mean, short films are great, you know. There's a lot more outlets for them now too, where back when I started, there wasn't. You may be able to show it to a friend or at a gallery or something like that, but you couldn't get a short film distributed like now. Now you can. This is different, ball.
I remember the first time I had interviewed a director. I had interviewed a director, and she did a really wonderful film. And I went away with that too. Like, man, this is really great. It's a great short film. Like, who's gonna ever see this? Maybe you can put it on YouTube, but still, it's like, yes, you could put it on YouTube, but it's you want to be seen by the right audience. And then I saw her short film end up on Omeletto. I was so happy for her because that is the place to go for short films.
Yeah.
Going to the chat real quick. Let me. I neglected them here. Let's see. Oh, hey, Doc Kaiju is here. All right.
Hey, Doc.
And let's see. Jerry's mentioning that Lynn Shay will be at Scarefest this October. It's awesome.
She's not here.
She may not be here, but if you guys come back on Thursday, I might have something up my sleeve for you guys. that I was just
Wow.
talking about. Yeah, I might have something up my sleeve here. You never know. You never know with a questions with.
Hmm.
And Joseph is here, and he's sitting there saying about Violet McGraw. Yeah, I've actually done one of her films. I've done one of her one of the two sisters. I reviewed that. She's a really fine actress. And Christy is here. Hi, Christy. And Jerry saying, "Hit that!
Yay.
Yay!"
Yay.
Um, let's see. Jerry's saying, "Hit that like button and hit that share out button. That will also help us as well. Help the channel out." Um, wow. So I guess with you, Scarlett, I guess what I'll have to do is go back to the beginning, jump into the TARDIS machine, and go to the way, way back, and find out how did you get your start in this business? Because not only are you, because you've done so many things. I mean, I commented before you got on here that you're the type of talent that every single, and I do mean every single independent film crew wants to have on their set, because you can do anything. If there's a hole that needs to be filled, you could walk over there and do it. Um, Makes you very valuable in my book.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I would say yes or no on that because it depends on the equipment they may have. Some people may be operating equipment I don't know how to operate, but I have done pretty much everything. Um, so I could definitely be of some help to somebody.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's what makes you in demand. When if you're in what city are you? What area are you located at? You don't have to give me the exact city if you don't want to, but what area do you live at?
I'm in Salinas, California.
Oh, okay, okay. So, probably not too big of a film community in Salinas, huh?
Well, there used to not be any that I knew of. Probably over in Monterey, which is maybe half hour away. But I did find out that there's right next to the movie theater downtown that there is a restaurant that has like a basement, and every first Friday or first Monday of every month, they show independent films from locals. And I have
Nice.
not brought myself to go over there yet, but I definitely will when I write something else and seek out some people to work with. I'll definitely go visit that and start networking. But,
I mean, you must go there every
that's
Monday
great.
regardless, though. Do you go there every
I
time
have
they're
not been
open?
there yet. I've not been there yet.
Oh,
I was literally walking around in town looking at different places I may be able to show one of my films. And
right.
I think I went into a coffee shop and one of the baristas told me about it.
Nice.
And so I looked it up. It exists, but I have not actually gone physically to one yet.
Well, I definitely think it's this week is the week you do go. Oh
Mhm.
yeah. Oh yeah. We're sending him down there. He's gonna have to come back and give us a report. Oh my God, how exciting was that? I mean, I didn't think. See, I lived in San Jose for many many years,
Okay.
not too far away from Salinas. So, but
Is
I
that an
never.
hour?
It's all. Yeah, if someone would have said, Salinas has a underground, independent film network showcase, I would have never. I would have. You could have knocked me over with a feather. But that's
Right.
exciting.
Yeah, it's great because I mean we had literally nothing for the longest time. No music, no art, no anything. I
Yeah.
remember when they tried to open a club here in the '80s, and it was here for maybe 2 weeks. You know, and they had one concert at the rodeo grounds. It was Slayer, and some kid got stabbed, and so that was the end of that.
Yeah. Isn't that
Yeah,
something else? I
what are
hate
you
when that
gonna
shit
do?
happens.
Slayer concerts in the '80s, in Salinas of all places.
Yeah, you just want to. You just already know that the person who did the stabbing, you already know right off the bat that that guy had never been outside of his basement. I mean, what were you going to stab somebody else for?
Yeah, probably
A
not a
so
Slayer fan.
no. Had no
No,
idea. I mean, you could be in a rival gang. You could have
right.
right, but a Slayer will unite a crowd together.
Yes,
All in
absolutely.
the name all in the name of going up, because there's no other band that has a pit like Slayer.
Yeah,
No.
I've gone to a couple Slayer concerts. I wasn't big on going to see them because I wasn't that into them, but I had friends that got me tickets. And I remember one in particular where I was on like a bleachers that kind of overhung like a balcony thing, but it were bleachers. I don't know how to explain it. Like they were put together kind of thing. They were made of metal, and the whole thing was shaking up and down because everybody on there's going, this
Right.
whole thing like, gung, 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 And I'm just thinking, don't, hopefully it wasn't going to collapse and I'm going to fall and get trampled. But, but you're right.
they have clips here on YouTube where the people, you just sense the energy before they start playing, and everybody's
Mhm.
just standing there just waiting and waiting and waiting, and as soon as
Yeah,
that
and then
first
it just
note is hit,
pops off.
it's just madness, but it's
Mhm.
joyful. It's joyful. I watch a lot of their
Absolutely.
pits and what have you, and people are not they're not well, can't say that for today, but back in the 90s, if you went to a Slayer concert, you were guaranteed to have a great time. You were
Absolutely.
there to have fun.
I mean, I'm an old punk kid, so I used to go to all the punk clubs in LA in the early '80s where we were doing somersaults off the stage and jumping up onto the speakers and climbing the scaffolding and dropping into the audience, and it was that was crazy mayhem. We all looked out for each other. If we knocked somebody down in the
Yes,
pit, we picked them up.
yes,
You know, so,
yes. That's the sign of a true punk. A true. One of my favorite stories I tell people is, I worked in clubs in the '90s in San Jose, and
mhm.
I went and saw Tool and the Rollins band, and
Oh wow,
so
I've seen
so
Rollins.
I yeah, Rollins is awesome.
Mm.
Seems you got to see Rollins do spoken word. So anyway,
Did-
here I am.
I got a
I'm
funny
in the
story about that.
here I am. I'm in the pit, and I'm having a really good time going around and around. And there's this asshole, a little jock kid. You can tell he's a jock. And what
The
he's
only
doing,
people that weren't
he's
safe with
standing
the
he's
punk
standing on
are
the side. He's
jocks,
standing on the
volunteers,
side.
and security.
Yeah, they're all. You can always tell the jockers. You could always tell them. All the
Yeah.
chads. So there's this Chad standing outside, and we're all just going around, having a great time. And this guy, what he's doing, he's sucker punching. He's sucker punching people as they go
Oh,
by him.
geez.
He's thinking it's funny. He
Not a
goes
good
and
idea.
right. So he's out there. So here you are, you're getting punched by this guy, and then you turn around, and he's sitting there laughing at you because he punched you. Well, he
Yeah.
did it to me. He got me. He punched me, and I'm like, what the hell? I turned around. He's there laughing at me. Right? He's laughing at me. What he doesn't know is coming around is somebody who knows me and saw it. And so his
Mm.
his he's
So he
his
had some
backstory.
momentum.
Oh, he had a momentum, and he hit the guy so hard the guy dropped like a sack of potatoes. He just dropped. I mean, he hit him so hard. I was glad that he wasn't seriously hurt, but that was the end of his night. But a
I
pit,
just lost
man.
this. Lost. Oh, there we go.
Um, the
I'm back.
uh,
For a minute, it spinning there for a minute.
okay, yeah, buffering a little bit. You're back. Oh man. All
Yeah.
right, so I I don't know how many people here love the music stories, but yeah, and you went to the '80s punk rockers. Man, what a great
Oh,
place to
yeah.
be.
Those days were brutal, man. It was a whole different situation than
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
Because we were getting harassed by everybody. Especially the long-haired stoner kids. They always wanted to beat us up, chased us around town in their car or on foot and school. And so when we were at our club at night with our seeing, our punk bands, it was ours. If you came in there with long hair and a REO Speedwagon shirt, unfortunately, you were getting beat up by lots of people. You know, I was a
Yeah,
spectator, of course, but that's just how it was. You know,
yeah.
just
Don't expect to walk in there with that trouble-causing Journey shirt and think you can get away with it.
you just didn't fly, man. You know, it didn't fly because there was so much aggression that people had pent up from those guys kicking our ass all the time out in the
Right.
world. So when we were at our place, you know, doing our thing, they were allowed. And if they came
And
in,
I do find
you know, good
ironical.
luck.
I do find ironical that all those long hairs, all the rockers, that during that time in in the 80s, early 90s, they all suddenly found, here we are listening to grunge. Grunge is the outshooter punk. And next thing you
Mhm.
know, here they are, and now all these bands want to be the next thing from Seattle. They want to be the
Right.
next Soundgarden. They want to be the next Nirvana. And
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry. I just,
they just wanted to be. They wanted to be the next big thing. And it's like, man, your music's not right for it. You guys are playing all those Poison and Rat and Firehouse, and
yeah.
it's like,
I mean,
no, everybody wants to hear something more faster and chunkier.
hmm hmm
Uh,
when the punk scene in LA died, it sort of people started going to metal shows, not the Poison, but the Metallica, all the Saxon, and
right.
it's forming pits. You know, that's kind of my theory of how pits started at the metal shows. The punk sort of moved in and because they shut down all the punk clubs around 83 4 in LA. I mean, they still existed, but it was different, and people I remember people being in the parking lot and we should go to Metallica or we should go to this or that. And a lot of punks got into metal, you
But
know.
I think
This was
saved the
way
punk scene,
before
though.
grunge came out. I'm talking like 83,
I think the
80.
same. I think the one thing that saved punk though, back then was K Rock, especially
Oh, K-Rock was,
Ro-
yeah, they were
yeah,
the only station that played
they're the
played
only one.
punk bands. Rodney Bingenheimer.
Rodney on the Rock had Rodney on the
He would
Rock come on
he
there,
wouldn't
and
buy us beer. We were 14 and we were outside 7-Eleven. He wouldn't buy us beer. Like, Ronnie, you
come
dick.
on, Rodney. He definitely was the mayor of the Sunset Strip.
He was.
Um,
Yeah, he
yeah,
was.
for sure. When alternative came on and just started fighting with the metal scene, and
Mhm.
more people listened to K Rock and listened to the bands. I mean, a lot of the bands were
Yeah.
new wave bands, synthesizer bands, but they were different from their usual rock bands, and
Mhm.
people got into them. That was
Yeah.
just the beginning. It was the beginning of the heyday for the video scene. All the
Yeah.
music
Yeah.
videos. I mean,
MTV.
that was definitely a great time to be a
Ri-
music fan.
yeah, Richard Blade, you remember him?
Oh
He
yeah,
used to
yeah.
DJ on there too. He had a show called MV3, and it was a television. It was like MTV, but it was on TV. It used to come on at like 3:34 in the afternoon. So we'd always come home from school
Hmm.
and put it on and call up our friends and laugh at all the
Yeah,
new
that
wave,
used to be on
new wavers
LA.
programming.
It used to be on Channel 9. Remember that show used to be on in LA. It used to be on Channel 9. That was the
The
same station.
MP3.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then that's
yeah,
the station that broke Elvira out.
right. Yeah, absolutely.
So
I think, yeah, you're right.
yeah.
And
Okay,
Rodney
yes,
had
I'm
the
sure everybody's
record.
sitting there going like, when are they going to start talking movies here? And it's like, well, we are, but like I said, this is the thing about eight
Or
questions,
rockers
Will.
that make horror movies.
Yeah. This is the thing about eight questions is you never know where we're taking you. I don't even know. Honest to hell, it's like people say, "Are you going to send me questions?" I'm like, no, because I don't know what I'm going to ask you. Just we're just
Right.
going to let it run. Um, but I love talking about the old days, man. It's
No, me
like
too.
it's fun.
It was.
But let's go back to the movies because you're about to tell us how you got involved in making films.
How I got involved with making films.
Hmm.
Is that what you said? Well, in like the year was 83. Um, and I wanted to actually start a band. And Scarlet Fry was going to be the next Alice Cooper. That was the kind of thing I wanted to do. I wanted to have theatrics and do like a horror show. But I really couldn't play guitar very well at all. All my friends were great musicians. And so we got to, I got some friends together. We all got into a garage. We put together maybe 3 songs. And I said, hey guys, I want to do this thing. And they just weren't into it. And it was too hard to tell musicians, me not really being, I was going to be the singer, not really knowing how to play anything. Like, I want to do this. You guys, got to do this. And we're going to be this way, before we even started. So I couldn't get that off the ground. So I kept the name Scarlet Fry. And it wasn't until 5 years later that I took it into film and did my first movie, Scarlet Fry's Horrorama, which is now coming on VHS again. I couldn't get it distributed when it originally came out. So what I had done was I put together the VHS myself, and I had previously worked for distributors, Camp Video, who did Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers and some of those movies, and family movies. And even Steven Productions, they did Satan's Storybook, which I was in, and some other movies. And so I took that experience and I would call up video stores from my house, because that's what we did at the distributors. The boss would put pages they look like white pages, just all these pieces of paper like this tall, and they were all video stores to call to get the product, in the video stores. So I just did that at my house, and I got my movie into several video stores, which was pretty cool. But very regional. I got them into stores in LA, Seattle, and Chico, California, the 3 places I lived during that time. And I put an ad in Fangoria too. And lo and behold, the thing wound up in these books that came out 2020, 2018. I could pull them out that I didn't even know about. And so
they wrote about your movies.
Yeah, apparently it's a cult classic now, because it was shot on video in the early 90s. And because it did make it into video stores, it was, considered a legit shot on video, horror film from the heyday of shot on video films, which pretty much started in the 80s, but it went into the 90s. And we started filming in the late 80s, but it didn't come out till 1990. And here, I'll show you one of the books, just to give you an idea. I had no idea this book came out. Probably till 2-3 years later. I think
it's surprising how that works out. I mean, I remember the first time hearing about the Friday the 13th book by Peter Bragi, which I had never heard of before, and he writes about everything associated with the movies. I mean, and I had never heard about it. Well, not everything. I mean, there's some people who didn't, there's people who he couldn't fit into the book because they didn't fit the criteria, whether it be, it just wasn't Friday the 13th. Or people didn't care about it, so he didn't want to waste his time. But he interviewed a lot of people, and he made a Friday the 13th book. I had never heard about it, and then because I heard, I definitely was a fan of the movies, and then lo and behold,
I love that movie.
His book came out and did so well. It went back and got a second printing, but it was like, how come I never heard about this book? Because not everything is discovered. It takes time for to be slowly built up like that.
Yeah, so this book came out, I think, in around 2020. 2021 in there. It's called Bleeding Skull,
Nice.
and it's a 90s trash horror odyssey. And you know, if you look through it, it's all these. It's from A to Z, all these movies that were shot on video. And so here's me. It starts here, but then you flip the page, and they got the whole cover there, and all this over here.
Nice.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm just like, yeah, that's so cool. You know, and there's
That
three
is so
books
cool.
that came out, and there's a fourth one that I'm most, which is the one I'm most proud of. It's called Destroy All Movies, and it's all the punks that made movies. And the same writer that wrote this wrote that, and that came out in 2010. I didn't know I was in that book till like 6 months ago. You know, so for 15 years there's movies in all these different books.
Probably when it first came out, Scarlet, there wasn't probably any way to really track you down, you know. But now there's probably not that much excuse now. Now I think if you wrote a book about somebody, you could definitely find them.
Well,
Somebody would know somebody.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And
I mean, just to be able to at least call them up there and say, "Hey, thank you for including me," you know.
Yeah, I talked to this guy who wrote this, and I tried to buy my movie off him, the original copy, because I don't have it anymore. I have the movie, but I don't have the original VHS that's pictured in this book, and he didn't want to sell it to me. And I said, "What?" I said, "How much do you think it's worth?" And there's literally, I guess, there's only 2 or 3 known to exist with collectors. And he said, probably over $1,000. I'm like, what? You know, I'm just like, oh. And I start thinking about the big box of them I left in Chico because I got into a dispute with my producer because I was dating his daughter. You know, that goes. And so I left the big box of my movies there. Took what I had to Seattle. And yeah, so. But yeah, it's coming out for the pre-orders are gonna start the 28th of this month. And they're redoing
who did you get to distribute it this time?
It's gonna Lunch Meat. They're one of the biggest. They're called Lunch Meat. Yeah, they're one of the biggest current VHS distributors, and they handle some great titles like Sleepaway Camp. They got good stuff. You know, so
now
I'm really honored to be with them. I wouldn't really want them any other way.
Will this also be on the regular formats too?
Excuse me?
Will this be on regular DVD or Blu-ray format as well?
Yeah, it already is. So the first time it was legitimately distributed. Sorry, I'm still here. I just like to be a show off.
Send me my movie.
So my second movie, the first movie came out in '90. The second movie wasn't until 2007. So that 17-year break, I was just running all over the country with different girls and things like that. And one day
sounds to me like a little rock star as she traveled
it
around.
Was fun, you know, it was fun.
Little Jack Kerouac.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's great. Really what had happened was I was in LA and I was doing other movies and I wanted to make more movies and pursue an acting career, and I wanted to just do horror movies. And I went off to a pretty good start. I did my first movie. I did a movie called Glitter Goddess of the Sunset Strip, which was about a groupie that I lived with, another girlfriend. And I was in a Kiss video, and they were one of my favorite bands, so that was cool. I'm like, wow, this is really popping off great, you know. And my friend had done a movie called Satan's Storybook, which is another cult classic now. That VHS goes for like $700. But I ended up running away from LA with a girl, and I went to Chico. I worked on one more movie called Sacrifice of the White Goddess, and then I just enjoyed my life in the country with my girlfriend for 5 years, and we ended up going to Seattle and then Maui. So there was a big break there, and my second movie was this one, Junk Food Horror Fest. And I got the idea for this. This title came about with a phone call I had with a guy named Dookie Fleischwalder, who wrote Blood Diner. He was in Surf Nazis Must Die, and he was a friend of mine. And he was
Did you ever see
referring.
that movie? Did you ever see that movie when it came out on Troma?
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, that was such a disappointing movie.
Which one?
I thought it'd be Surf Nazis Must Die. I
Oh, I
thought it'd
love
be
it.
such more. I thought it was so much more. It'd be a lot more action to it, and
Right.
it just sort of died.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he really knew how to surf, so
Yeah.
they kind of had to work with that, you know. But I thought it was good for what it was. I mean, I loved it because it was corny and stupid. Um, but we were just on the phone one day, and he was referring to Horror Ram. He's like, "Good luck with your junk food horror fest." And so years later, a bunch of people kind of inspired me to do another movie. So I did this, and this distributor said to me, "Do you have anything else we could put on here?" And so Horror Ram is on here as like a special feature.
Okay.
So it's the first time
That
the
I like
program
when that
came out.
happens, and especially getting two movies out on a VHS tape. That's really cool. But I do like that too, where um, a director will, like we just did a movie last Sunday. We talked about it called The Midnight Man. It came out in 2015, and
Oh,
I guess it was based on another movie called Midnight Man. It came out in 2013,
okay.
and that IFC put both movies out on the same release. Did the same feature
Yeah,
film, and then
that,
yeah, I think that's really cool when they do that.
that is cool. Yeah, yeah. So I was stoked. I mean, I put Horrorama on there. They were gonna call it Triple Horror Fest because the one TV access show I did where I hosted Carnival Souls, the old '60s film,
Right.
is on here too. But then they just
Oh,
decided to call it Junk Food Horror Fest, which was my second movie. So you don't even know that those two movies are here unless you mess around with the menu screen. You know?
nice.
Yeah.
Now you have copies of that, right? Or do you have just the one
Oh, I have
copy?
tons of those. Yeah, I got
Oh,
tons of those.
okay.
And then when I got with SRS the first time, this is 2014. They put it out on VHS. So this is the first time it got distributed by itself.
Okay, and he got that distributed through with Ron. Nice.
Yes. And
Yeah.
this is limited edition. It sold out pretty quick. But it was
Yes.
cool. It came with a poster and it came with
I like how Ron does that.
yeah.
And let me ask you what you think about that. I think how he does things is pretty damn smart. A lot of times someone will
It
get a
is.
movie and they'll get a movie and they'll distribute, to distribute it. And what they'll do is they'll get it and they'll, it's really sort of, it hurts the filmmaker more than anything else. And what Ron does is he sets up the filmmaker up for success. And how I mean is a lot of times someone will take a film and they'll make like 1,000 copies of that film.
Yeah, or more.
Right.
And they'll
And the thing
start
about
off
it
with
is, so
quadruples.
but what happens is like the distributor come back there and says, okay, so I made 2,000 copies of your film, and
Yeah.
I'm going to put out there and print ad and this and that. And before you know it, you are
You owe them
behind
money.
the 8 ball. You're behind the 8 ball.
Mhm.
You have to make those 2,000. In order for you to make any sort of profit, you have to sell those 2,000 movies. You
Yep.
have to, or to have a fighting chance. Now,
Yeah.
Ron, what he does is he
Yeah.
will, and as a director, do you feel more comfortable with this? Ron will he'll run up 100 copies.
Mhm.
He'll sit up there and say, "We're going to make 100 copies of this movie."
Yeah. Ron is like in-house,
Hmm.
whereas um, the other distributors, they'll have it with MVD. It'll go all everywhere. All the Amazon retailers will have 30 copies. They try to get it to everybody and their mom. And a lot of those end up getting returns. It just
Hmm.
depends on how much publicity you can generate. But they do go through a lot of channels sometimes. But what I like about Ron is he kind of stays in house. So he puts you on all the streaming platforms, which is great. It's
Right.
wonderful. Um,
But he'll do the 100 copy. He'll do the 100 hard copies though, and what
yes.
that does,
So you
it
so you
creates
don't have a bunch of overhead that you owe money on. Yeah,
yes,
it's
and
good.
it creates a demand because
Mhm.
'cause if you want to see if you want to see a collector go ape shit, just tell them there's just we've only made 125 copies of this film. Watch them go ape shit. They will come through the roof to come buy that movie because there's only 125 of them made.
Yeah.
Well, yes, this batch you sell 125, and next thing you know, is that okay? Well, that went well. Let's do another
Make
one,
some
and
more.
they'll do
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it creates the excitement, and
Mhm.
it gives you a fighting chance to make profit.
Yeah, and it's good. What also I love about it is there's people that collect SRS movies, and you can
Yes,
go on YouTube and you watch all these different people showing off their collection of SRS films. So he's created kind of a cult following for his titles. So if anyone wants to buy the
I've got a
Scarlet
few
Fry
SRS.
Collection, this came
I
out
have a
on
few.
SRS,
I have a few SRS.
and this is limited, and there's still some left. So
Nice.
if anyone wants to get it, there's 5 films on here for twenty nine
That's a
ninety
good.
nine.
That's a good deal.
Yeah,
That's a good
this is
deal.
this was
That's
I
a
was
really
so
good deal.
honored that they did this because I had 5 films that I wasn't doing anything with them anymore because my contracts had run out, and I got with Ron. I said, "Hey, can you do anything?" He says, "Sure." I didn't know he was going to do this. You know, I thought maybe he might put them out individually or what. I don't know what he was going to do, but I'm honored to have this.
I think putting out like a collection like that adds value. I mean,
It's
thirty
great. There's
dollars for
only like
five
500.
movies, five
You
movies that will be next to impossible to get.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I think it's a really fair deal.
Oh yeah, for
Um,
sure,
yeah.
for sure. It's like me, Todd Sheets, Donald Farmer, and one or two other people. So I mean, it's great company.
I'm glad you segued into the Donald Farmer because you consider yourself more or less a film director by now, right? I mean, if someone walked up to you and said, "I understand you're in the movies. What do you do in the movies?" What's the first thing
Mhm.
that you tell them? Do you tell them you're an actor, or do you tell them you're a director?
I never really talk about it unless someone asks me or it comes up somehow. I'm really humble about it. Out of like the 20 people I hang out with here, I think 3 of them know I make movies. I'll just say I'm a filmmaker. I just kind of use the term filmmaker
Okay.
because I wear a lot of hats. And when
Now,
I oh, go ahead.
now I personally, I'm just letting you be honest about it, and I'll catch up to it sooner than later. Now, I personally have yet to see one of your films per se. Doesn't mean that I don't know about it because I was looking at some of the cast of your films, some of the movies that you've done. You've actually worked with some people have actually been on the show before.
Oh, cool.
So
That's
yes. So
that's
so your films you know and you mentioned Donald Farmer, he's been on here before. Of course,
Mhm.
you guys know I already had Ron on here because I shared that in your core
Yeah.
group.
Yeah,
which
that's cool.
I hope that everybody enjoyed. Um,
Yeah, I remember when he was Sub Rosa way back in the day, in the early 2000s. And,
um,
you knew
now let
when
me
you
ask
were
you this
watching the
question
Sub
first
Rosa.
before I get into the meat of of the subject, because it really, I guess it doesn't I guess it's not important, but at the same time it is. And I'll explain it here because I really want your reaction. I mean, you're the first director I've talked to that, since I'm going to be getting into this, I want to hear your 2 cents,
Sure.
Scarlett. Um, in any of your movies, did you ever have any nudity in your pictures? Do you have any actresses, do a little bit of
Um,
topless scenes or what
Boobs
have you?
twice, because the first Junk Food Horror Fest, there's a little titty, and Nightmare Alley has some titty. Because when we took it to the distributor, um, it was originally too short, and the distributor literally says to me, "I need blood, tits, in 70 minutes." And I go, "Okay, well, I need to add 8 minutes tits, and I already have blood." So we had to go back, film another short, edit it in, and have a little uh, titty. So so
Okay.
we did that, and I did that with Nightmare Alley. But my other two films, 3 films, I didn't have any nudity because it wasn't something that I felt I needed or sought out, but because they wanted it, I put it in. In the second film, we just had a girl bring me a platter with a head on it,
Okay.
topless, and she couldn't show her parents or anything. She was 18, but yeah, so
Okay. But it was a scene. It was like one scene. She brought you.
yeah,
She's
it
topless for
was a
one scene.
scene
She
in the
brings
film.
you, and that's and that. Okay, so it's not like she ran around the whole movie naked.
No, it was just one quick scene where she walks on, brings the host a platter with a head on it for me to eat
Right.
the brains out of, and walks off.
What do you feel about what do you feel about directors that exploit their talent, so to speak?
Oh, like
Um,
Paul Nash type people that always write themselves in making out with a hot chick.
yeah, something like that, or just have the hot chick in a really bad movie. It's like the movie's just garbage, but we'll throw out our two actresses nude out there for like 90% of the movie.
I mean, yeah, if that's all they're doing for the sake of doing it, it's not ever going to be very good, you know.
No.
If it's a Linnea Quigley type in Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers or a movie like that, it's great because it's a good movie, and it kind of goes with it, the movie. But just to have
Well,
it for the sake of having it and too much
yeah.
of it, I don't necessarily, I don't, if the girls agree to do it, I don't disagree with it or anything, but I don't find that I need to do that.
I just find like a lot of horror actresses. Some are, like some are based in, some are based out of the way, right? They're not based in Los Angeles or Atlanta
Right.
or New York.
Mhm.
So if they're in Nebraska, so to speak, they don't really have much to go, right? It's not like they can just get up and go to LA for an audition or whatnot. I
Right.
mean, or they could, but I mean, it's so the reason I asked this is because I'm going to be talking about a director who basically completely exploited his two leads. I mean,
Okay.
it's not even. I mean, it's not even. It's not sexy at all. The
Are
movie's
they
not
sexy?
good. The movies are not the movie. The movie's not good at all. The movie looks like it looked like someone. I don't know. It looked it's just god awful. The effects
It's
look
just
like it came from an
showcasing the
Atari
girls and that
2600.
for the yeah.
Yeah, the effects look like they came from an Atari 2600,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
just absolutely stone cold garbage. And to
Yeah.
me, it's like, do you feel as a director? I mean, do director? I mean, I guess I could ask from another director as well, but as a
I guess
director, do you feel responsible? Do you feel morally responsible for the content that you ask your actors to do? Like, To me, it's like this. Would you ask your wife or your mom or your sister to play the same part you're asking your actress to do? Would you do that?
Um,
Would you?
in my films,
No, not
prob-
you, not you in specifically, but in generally speaking,
oh,
you go
just
out
to
there with
show
some of
their
these, yeah,
boobs and do their
right,
thing for the sake of doing it? No, not
right.
at all. No,
I mean, if
no. I
to
mean,
me, it's like, yeah,
it's kind of degrading, you know.
thank you.
Yeah, it is. Um, when when the distributor told me that, I need blood tits in 70 minutes, me and my partner were literally going to make a movie called Blood Tits in 70 Minutes about the corruption of distributors, and we were going to make the worst movie on purpose, and do it kind of like what you're saying. But we didn't do it because we were going to expose them. But yeah, I don't think that's right. It's because it's not really art at that point.
No,
If you're just throwing boobs up there just for people to look at and go, yeah, man, there's no story and there's nothing to it, then yeah, I mean,
because I think what really gets me, Scarlett, is the fact that it hurts the actor. It hurts the actor,
it
and
could,
I,
yeah.
now now you've done casting directing, right? You've casted movies before.
hmm I had one girl that her boyfriend, I did want her to show a little because that she was coming out of a shower, but it wasn't going to be, exploitatory or whatever. She didn't want to do it. I was fine. But the boyfriend was like, because you might be president someday. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, come on. She's not going to be the president. But I got it, and I didn't
Yeah,
care. You know? So,
right.
yeah.
I mean, you could ask. I mean, you could always ask if you could sit there and say, "Hey, there's going to be what I think what really sucks though, and a lot of actresses have told me this has happened to them is the fact that they'll do a movie, they'll agree to do a movie, in a an independent horror movie. They'll agree on location, the salary, whatnot, and the script, and then the talent will get to the site to the shoot,
Oh,
and
and
they'll turn
bring
around and
it.
say, "Oh, by the way, we added in two new nude scenes for you."
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just horseshit to me.
It is. It is. But on the other hand, I get you're right. It is. I was in a movie called Blood Moon Rising that had Ron Jeremy, and I play a zombie who walks up to me and my I have this pus thing that squirts on him. So, oh, I get to say I squirt on Ron Jeremy, right? Not the best thing, but I thought it was funny. But there was girls on that set running around going, sign my boobs and stuff. So there's that aspect too. And I'm just like, wow, really?
Yeah. You sort of wonder about that. I mean, that's sort of
Yeah.
weird too. But I bet you probably just about every one of those girls is probably
But
19 or 20 years
I
old.
would never spring it on somebody.
Yeah.
I would absolutely tell them beforehand, this requires nudity if it did, and are you comfortable with that? If they weren't, then we weren't gonna do it.
I just feel that kind of filmmaker. Oh God, I can't feel like I have to go. I feel like I need to brush my teeth after that, saying that. But those type of filmmakers
Right.
that will exploit the talent like that, and what really sucks about it is like it's not like the people in front of the camera. It's not like they're just like off the street. Hey, let's get some friends together to make a movie.
Yeah, and you don't
There's
need it.
actually talent.
Yeah.
There's actually real talent on the screen. I guess this is
Mhm.
really what makes me angry about this. It's like they're really good actresses, and one of them was actually also a makeup artist.
Yeah,
And it's like, I mean, we're talking like a really, and it's like these are girls like if they got the right spot, they could actually do something for real. I mean,
Mhm.
if they
Yeah,
could if they could ever get seen in front of the right person, because they
yeah,
have skills.
yeah,
And it's
exactly.
like, and yeah, to me, I just feel like when you put them in shit like this, like the movie's
Mhm.
called Wattzilla, when you put them in
What's it
shit like
called?
Wattzilla, I think that you hurt their career.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. You know, and when the distributor told me they wanted that, I didn't think it was good. I was okay because I wanted to get distributed, and the person that did the part was comfortable with it, so it was fine. And like I said, it was one quick walk on.
sure.
But I didn't think it was necessary. But the distributors, some of them are convinced that that's what
Well,
sells the movie. It's
yeah,
like
well, they
I'm a,
say,
I'm a
well,
horror fan. I don't need to see boobs in a movie to
yeah,
enjoy the movie.
I know. I actually know a lot of horror fans that, when you talk about the movies, they really don't talk about the nudity. And for horror fans, I mean, thrillers,
Yeah,
yes. Thrillers, like Skinamax movies, yes, they will talk about the nudity. But horror films, I mean, if Jen Ortega showed her boobs off in Scream 20, well, they're not
they're
going to
not
sit there and say, "Wow, Jen Ortega showed us her boob in Scream 20."
right.
They're going to sit there and talk about the kill. Oh man, no,
Yeah,
they got that guy in a windmill. That's awesome. They don't
yeah.
really,
They're not
because they
going
used
to
to.
see Scream to see Jen Ortega's topless.
No, no one cares. They just want a good. They just want a good gore fest.
Right.
I know what I talked to Adam Marcus. He said that when
Well,
he
he's
made
good.
his film, when he made his Jason Goes to Hell, they
Mhm.
they went to him and they said you have to have a kill, not a nude scene, but a kill. You have to have a kill scene like once every 8 minutes.
Sure. Yeah.
Not
The
nudity,
pacing.
not like, yeah, you got to show some titties every 8 minutes or every 6 minutes. No,
Right.
they don't care about that. They want to see the kill. That's what they want to
Yeah.
see.
And that's
Uh,
why I did shorts because I didn't want the viewers to get bored. I wanted there to be a kill, and I wanted the viewer to anticipate what was coming next. Like they knew this was going to be over and something was going to come after this, right? And there's going to be another kill, and they're to build that anticipation. So I think that's why they do the 8 minute thing because it's the
I'm not
pacing.
sure if that. I'm not sure because think about it. When Adam made his movie, I mean, is it? I don't know if it's the same today as it is then because there's been some
Yeah.
movies like I look at X for example. X is a great example of not doing that. It's an hour and a half movie, and for the first hour, basically nothing happened at all.
Mhm.
And then the last half hour, they killed off everybody in the last half hour. It wasn't the once
Yeah.
every 8 minute rule. I think that rule is pretty much is gone now. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
think
it
people
could have been a
would.
Friday the 13th thing, I don't know, but
I mean, that might have worked before, but I don't think it's a in the
it's not
stone.
necessary. No,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. Yeah, it's absolutely not necessary. I mean, some of these slow burn movies are great.
Hmm.
I think in the old days they got caught up in some way of thinking. Where it seems to me like I love Linnea Quigley and Brink Stevens and those Scream Queens, but every movie they were in, they had topless scenes that weren't necessarily needed to be there, but for some
No.
reason, someone got the idea that these girls need to be topless in every movie they're in. You know, I don't,
Yeah.
uh,
I I
I don't
I
think
didn't
it's
get that I
necessary.
didn't get that myself. And if you think about it, you know, to me, it's like for some of these actresses, I think it's detrimental to their career if they allow
It could
themselves
be.
to be shown like that in every movie.
It could be
It's a
because then someone might say, "Well, you did it in that movie, and you're gonna do it in
right,
this one, or you're out of here." It shouldn't.
right.
It shouldn't be a thing.
So what do you like doing better then? I mean,
Now,
go,
Speaker's daughter won't
thank you
do
for
it.
thank you for talking to me about that because
No
I was
problem.
very curious to see I was very curious to see your stance on this.
Yeah, it's
Um,
not even a thing with me. I mean, if you see
yeah,
the scene we did it, the one girl she's torturing her boyfriend, and he's blindfolded, and she just opens her shirt. You barely see it, and she puts his hand on it and says, "What are you touching right now?" He's supposed to guess, and it's like a split second.
Yeah, see, that's story driven, and it's not
I wasn't sitting here
exploitative.
going, open the shirt,
You know,
up and around.
yeah, it's not exploitative. It's like,
Right.
okay, nudity, I guess it has its place in some respects, like, okay, I get it. I'm not a prude. I get it.
Yeah.
But I also don't think you need to exploit your talent by
No,
having a 65 or 70-minute movie and having them nude for 50 or 55 minutes of it.
yeah.
I don't agree with that. I don't think
No,
that's, I think that's horseshit.
it is. You're right. It is horse shit. Yeah.
Um, I think we, I
I
think we
agree.
chased, I think we chased all, I think we chased all the people who love boobies. But we'll say boobies and come on back. All right. So how would you describe? I asked you how you would introduce yourself, and you said as a filmmaker. Um, what do you like doing better? Do you like acting more than you like directing, or do you like directing more than acting?
I love doing both, I always want to be in my movie somewhere. It doesn't have to be long. One movie I'm in my movie for, I play a homeless guy that does the homage to Silent Night, Deadly Night, and they say, if you see Santa Claus, now you better run for your life, and that's it. And a lot of times, if I'm in my movie, it's because the actor didn't show up, and I had to be in my movie.
Yes.
But I like directing, but I enjoy acting just as much. But the most gratifying thing for me really is the accomplishment of doing a movie. And being able to hold this thing in my hand and be like, yeah, whoa, I did this. So I kind of like the whole process.
Uh, yeah, I like that too, and I like that the fact that it's going to be distributed. I think that's really cool as well. I'm very happy for you for that too. I think that's you know, VHS. It's such a weird market for it because, man, it's like
It's gonna
you
go
you
ahead.
hear about people. I'm like, I watch a lot of haul videos, right? People hunting for movies, and they are looking for
Yeah.
and they'll find all these VHS tapes. They're like, look what I found, look what I found,
All
and
the
you're
good
sitting there
ones
like, that's
you never
awesome.
find. Yeah.
Yeah, you never. And the ones that I seen, they're either given away or they're tossed.
Yeah. Top
It's like,
line.
yeah, yeah, we don't ever see anything like that through my area. We'll
Yeah.
see a lot of Disney movies or what have you, a lot of popular,
Exactly.
mainstream movies. But damn, we don't get any movies like that here. We don't
It's
see it.
amazing. Yeah, we don't either. When I lived in Arizona, it was rare. Um, and I specifically remember when it caught on again. The horror VHS collectors are the ones that sort of brought it back, the horror people. And it was like in the early 2000s, and it just gradually grew and grew and grew. And now I heard this year there's going to be a lot of VHS
Mhm.
coming out.
The
I
only thing
think
I
it's
hated
cool.
about the only thing I hated about the format, and I still remember the very first. I remember the first movie that I bought. I do. I remember that like it was yesterday. And the very first VHS movie that I ever bought was Starship Troopers.
Okay.
And I played that for maybe like almost a year until it got eaten up. And that I always knew that could happen, which is why I never
Yeah.
I think when that happened, I think I owned like 4 VHS tapes, and one was brand new. That was Starship Troopers was brand new, and the other 3 were like used copies.
Right.
Because once the first one got eaten up, I never bought another VHS.
Yeah.
I only bought one VHS brand spanking new. I've only bought one off the shelf. The rest
Yeah.
reused because of that. Because I didn't want to invest all that money, because
Right.
back then that was a lot of money to buy Starship Troopers. That was not cheap.
Yeah.
Um,
I remember before they ever retailed for $20, you had to pay $60, $80 for a movie.
yeah, yeah,
And that's how a lot of these filmmakers made money because there were so many video stores. And if you were gonna, and if a distributor picked you up and got them into just a quarter of those video stores, each video store was paying 60, $80 for that.
Yeah.
Once they retailed for 20, they were paying $10 for it. And then video stores died down, and it just the whole ball game changed. And now
I don't even know how many. I never
it's
even
all
thought
about
about asking.
streaming.
Yeah. I know there's one Blockbuster in Bend. We had one here called Family Video here in the Midwest.
Oh yeah, yeah. Family videos, they're
Oh my
legendary.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
I grew up in LA, so they were everywhere. I worked at a video store called 2020. And
Wow.
Shelley Duvall was a member, Dennis Quaid, Meg Ryan, Christina Applegate. So many celebrities were members there because they all lived in the hills.
Right.
It was amazing. It was a fun job.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah,
tried to get Christina Applegate in my movie. I offered her $100. She's like, no, I get $1,500 a show, and we film every day. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with asking.
Yeah, so why not? Meg Ryan came in with she I said, well, you need to pay your late fee or something like that. And she had these dark glasses on. And she's like, do you know who I am? And
Oh God.
She flips her glasses up like this, with her fan, Meg Ryan, and I go, oh, okay.
I hate that shit.
I don't care.
Yeah,
So,
I had a few of those. Do you know who I am? I'm going like, no, not really.
yeah.
I knew who they were, but I'm not gonna go into that. And going, don't you know who I am? I'm going like, no, never seen you before in my
Yeah.
life. Who are you?
The coolest thing that happened to me was I was all bummed out about this girl that dumped me or something. And I'm looking down at my feet. No one's in the store, no customers. And I hear this voice go, hey, man, could I return this now and pay for it later? And I'm thinking, I'm in a bad mood. I'm just going to be mean to this person, right? And I look up at Eddie Van Halen. I go, sure, man, no problem. Yeah, it was great.
Well, it's funny. It's like I worked in music too, and like I said, and I was actually working at Tower Records. I was in between. I was in between venues at the time, and I'm sitting there and I'm working at the cash register because it was busy, and I got my head down. I'm talking to people, and I made eye contact with the person. It's a nice lady, nice, pleasant looking lady, and
Mhm.
then I rang up. I suggested a record for her because we're supposed to make suggestions. So I said, "Oh yeah, I gotta check this
Right.
record out." And I brought this record. I had it right there. And she says, "Okay, throw it on there." So I put it on there, and then I gave her total, and then she gave me her credit card. I looked at the credit card. It says Joan Baez. I'm looking up. I'm looking.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
wow. And she goes.
Yeah, that's cool.
She goes like this, and I'm going like, "No problem, no problem."
Yeah,
Um,
that's cool. That's cool.
so yeah. Oh my gosh, she was beautiful. Shit.
Yeah, right. We
Yeah.
had Shelley Duvall. We used to lock the store for her, for that reason, so she could not be disturbed, and we let her write whatever
Right.
she wanted.
Right. Oh man,
What
yeah.
did you work at?
Have you ever directed anybody, Scarlett? Have you found anybody that you've directed in one of your films that has gone on to bigger and better things?
Um, hmm.
I know you.
I
I
would
know you
well,
acted with. I know you acted with somebody
Alice
that
Cooper's
has done.
daughter. I gave her first speaking role.
Who was it?
Alice Cooper's daughter,
Oh,
Calico.
okay. Okay.
And she went on to do a lot of stuff. Um, David Hayes went on to do a lot of stuff. Um, and who else? Oh, do you ever heard of Danzig, the
Yeah.
singer? Do you know
Yeah.
about when he got knocked out on YouTube? Well,
Yeah. I heard about that.
so the guy that knocked him out, I have him in one of my movies too. So those are the three most.
I actually interviewed John Christ.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been on the show. Super
Yeah.
nice guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
super nice guy. Yeah, Clint Danzig.
Yeah, the guy that
Uh,
knocked Danzig out, I put him in my movie. He was in a band called Northside Kings. And we did a little special feature where I got my eye black, and I'm like, oh, we shouldn't have worked with the guy, you know. I'm gonna file class action with Danzig. Yeah, that guy
because
had
I was
so
looking
much
at your
takedown.
looking at some of the I was looking at some of your films, and I saw one actor there who's been on the show too, who's gone on to do some bigger things, Tyler Gallant, and
Oh yeah. Yeah, see, I
yeah,
just didn't know about it, but yeah, you're right. You're right.
Tyler, he was super cool. Really
Yeah.
enjoyed him. I saw him in a movie he did called Space Wars, and
Wow.
man, that movie was so much fun. I got to talk to him, and what a great guy! What a just a fantastic
Yeah.
guy.
He was in Lepus, right? He played
Let's see, he
the
played
Jesus.
the sheriff. He played a sheriff.
Oh, the sheriff. Oh, Sheriff Cristo. Yeah, he was the Jesus
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that was that was
I
you.
saw that before. Like I think that was let's see. I think maybe it was for Grind Exploitation. I think there's been a couple
No, I
other
think
things
that
like
was
that.
he was in Death by VHS. And
Okay,
we put
I'm
his
looking at
name on the
some of the
back of
movies
the
that you've done.
box.
So you worked with you worked with Dustin Ferguson's favorite girl,
Who's that?
Donna Lee Heising.
Who's she?
I have no idea.
I worked with
I mean,
her?
I know who she is, but she was I think that was maybe you're in there as an actor. Yeah, you're not listed as a director, so you must have been acting. But she and they had Lloyd Kaufman. Lloyd Kaufman was in there. Oh shit!
Oh, you
I
mean
think Lloyd Kaufman is
Jason?
like it's like independent horror movies version of Eric Roberts.
Yeah,
He'll
he
show.
introduced one of my films. That was a really cool honor. He did it for free, so
Let's
that
see.
was neat.
It says, oh, this must be you. This must be underneath your real name, Logan, right? He played Bigfoot.
Are you thinking of Grindsploitation?
Yeah, this is Grind Exploitation 666.
Okay. Yeah, I did. Me and Christy did voices for a movie in that.
Oh,
And
okay.
I did a trailer for the very first Grindsploitation, which had a
That's
lot of big people, but I didn't work with them. They were just in the same, because so many different directors submitted things for that.
how do you feel about that kind of filmmaking? Where the budget's not there for on location shooting, and so you can go. Or I mean, a true anthology film. Um, do you like work with anthologies? Or is that a easy? Is that I always thought as that as being a very difficult format to work in as a director and as an actor. Uh, is
No,
it
well,
really difficult to do?
not for me. It was easier because I could write a short, you know, um, because I didn't have a lot of money. I might have been couch surfing or living with some girl and then, moving around. So it was a lot easier for me to write a short that was going to be 15 minutes long. Once the script was written, we'd get all the wardrobe together and cast it and shoot it. And if I was to try and do that with a full length feature, it would have been a lot tougher, you know because it would have took a lot longer. I would have had to known the people all that time to keep having them keep coming back to finish the movie. So it was easier for me to do shorts, and I like that, and I love that format. I love horror hosts, and I grew up with stuff like the Twilight Zone and stuff like that. So I like
Okay,
I like
let me put you
stories.
let me put you on the spot. So, because you're obviously you know about the '90s. Um, let me ask you this: what's the best horror anthology science fiction series that you've ever seen?
Mm.
I don't think you're gonna say the Twilight Zone for some reason.
Well, I think that's like the best stuff ever made, but I don't consider it an anthology because they were half-hour episodes, you know. You mean like a condensed film
Yeah,
anthology?
like a TV show. Like, what was the best anthology horror
Mhm.
science fiction that that you think has ever been made?
Uh, I love Kolchak, but I kind of look at him as the same way I do Twilight Zone. I would say maybe the old Vincent Price Tales of Terror or The Hammer, House of Drip Blood. You know those. I love those. Those are great. Um,
I think I personally I probably would go with the Outer Limits of the '90s,
yeah, the Outer
Then
Limits
Twilight
is
Zone,
amazing.
and then and then maybe I really love the Masters of Horror. Man, that was a
Yeah,
great
those
show.
are good. I think the
Those are
Twilight Zone is brilliant. I think that's the best stuff put on film, honestly.
really. Man,
To put a story like
I always went that I once you know I was always with that too until I saw the Outer Limits of the '90s, and then
mhm,
those things are so good and such
right.
great endings. I mean, it was just like I was like, damn, this is I mean, this might be blasphemy, but this is better than the Twilight Zone,
Well, what's so
and I think I'm right in that in one respect because there's a series that keeps on coming back there and basically stealing a lot of the Outer Limits stories, and that's Black Mirror. There's
I haven't
I
seen
have
that.
I have yet to see Black Mirror, but I have read some of the spoilers, and their storylines are lifted straight up from they're lifted straight up from
Okay,
Outer Limits. Yeah.
interesting. Well, when I took screenwriting, they would teach us the brilliance of, say, telling a story in 20 pages or whatever, and they would say a page is a minute. So a Twilight Zone would have been a 20-page script without the commercials. And so why I think that and the Outer Limits and things are so brilliant is they told those amazing stories in 20 pages, you know, like how they would take you in and just the whole experience, you know. And my teacher was telling us about Toy Story, and I'm going, why are you talking about the Twilight Zone or Outer Limits? Like you're saying, why are we learning about Toy Story? You know, um, y- I think the genius of that stuff is the fact that they were able to take you on such a ride, you know, and it was brilliant,
Mm,
and it was done in 20 pages. That's hard to do.
it is hard to do.
You know, that's
And
really
it's so interesting watching, you know, like watching like when Megan came out. You know, the when people came out and they were talking like Megan was like, "Oh my God, Megan!" And then then you know you read the storyline, you're going like, "Megan?
yeah,
You mean Valerie 23?" Because this
right.
story's
Or
got it's
talking
straight lifted from
Pluto.
the Outer Limits. I mean, it was definitely got inspired by the Outer Limits. So
Yeah,
why don't you
exactly.
come back there and say that?
Mm.
And you know, it's
No, I know
uh
exactly what you're saying.
the guy who wrote The Howling, Chrissy's mentioning the guy who wrote The Howling, John
Mhm.
Sayles wrote
Gary Bradner.
Gary Radner. Okay, John, because I was gonna say John Sayles wrote it too. He co-wrote it. Um,
Well,
God,
Gary Bradner wrote the book.
oh, okay, he wrote the book.
Yeah.
Um, what has been what has been your favorite? What are your three favorite movies? Either as a fan or as a filmmaker.
Frankenstein, the original. Um, you know, that's a tough one. I always have trouble with that because there's so many good ones. I love um, a movie called Death Dream, which was a Bob Clark film that he did before Black Christmas or after. I don't remember. That was a really interesting film. And They Live,
Oh yeah, They Live.
John
It's a great
Carpenter. Yeah,
movie.
great
Yeah.
message in that movie. You know, and it was a fun movie.
That's a great movie too.
Yeah, it's definitely good.
I loved Escape from New York. That was my John Carpenter.
Yeah, that's
That was
another
my choice. I
brilliant
saw
movie.
I saw The Thing for the first time last year. For the first time, I actually saw the whole movie, and because everybody has always just been so enamored of that movie, and I watched it, and I appreciated it for what it was, but I didn't fall in love with it like everybody else did. I thought it's a
Yeah,
good movie, but it's
yeah.
not my favorite John Carpenter movie.
No, I saw that when I was 15, so it was really fun to see, so I went twice.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think he's done better movies.
Yeah,
It's not.
I just absolutely loved Escape. I thought that was just that was such a rock and roll movie.
Yeah,
So much
Escape from
fun.
New York's great.
So many great lines in that movie too. You could just like riff on them. Yeah,
Snake
I thought.
Plissken.
Um, but then you got also got I don't know. I mean, what do you think of the new generation of directors? I mean, it's the twilight is falling on a lot of our directors that we know of. I mean, it's hard to
Yeah,
believe, but when we have Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese,
right.
all those great directors, they're in the twilight of their careers now. They really
Yeah.
are. It's but who do you think, other than maybe Ryan Coogler or
I
Jordan
like
Peele?
I was just gonna say I like Jordan Peele. I like Oz Perkins a lot.
You know what? He has come out. He came out with a home run, his first movie, but I have not been impressed with anything since.
Really? Hmm.
No, I knew Longlegs. I knew the story. I knew the answer to Longlegs in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that wasn't my
He-
favorite, but I love the monkey. I love the monkey, and he did another one I liked a lot too. I haven't seen
The
that.
Black Coat's Daughter. The Black Coat's Daughter is the one I really
That was
liked to him.
good. Yeah,
I have not
that was
seen
really
Keeper
good.
yet.
The guy
I
that
know.
did Weapons, I like too.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Um,
be looking at that pretty soon. I got that down to watch on my watch list. I'm curious to see how that works, because I know that everybody has been really, and everybody came out, but that happens. So it seems like everything comes out and they overhype a lot of horror movies.
yeah,
They just come out, and then when it doesn't really hit that hard, you know, then I, that, it hurts the movies following it because you'll get all hyped up for it, and then if it doesn't meet your expectations, horror fans, I hate to say it, but horror fans like today, and I see a lot of
oh,
fans complaining about this. They're not complaining about the movies anymore. They're complaining about their fellow fans, saying how toxic they are. It's like if I guess there's people who are out there trying to arrange some sort of boycott, which is bullshit, of course.
yeah.
Uh,
With me, I ran into. I just wanted to make stupid, funny movies like
yeah,
Troma-esque, and I got attacked for some of my content. And I'm thinking, these aren't songs; these aren't extensions of myself. That you know what I mean. I'm not trying to, and some critics went after me, and it just, you know, I got accused of being homophobic and this and that, and it's like they don't know that the actor is my friend. He's actually gay. We went song shopping together to get the song for the movie, and I based this movie on a true story. And for some reason, because the gay person in the movie gets killed, I'm a bad guy. I didn't understand that.
I
And
heard, I read the same thing about weapons too. There was a critic that wrote about weapons, and he was really upset about it. And
mhm,
spoiler alert, what he was really upset about was he says of the people who got killed in the movie, the two people that were killed the worst, the most gruesome, were the two gay characters.
but I
And
really doubt that's intentional. The guy doesn't like gay people, so he did that. You know what I mean? I honestly don't think that was the case. You know, um,
you really like not to think like that. Like the old thing about how a black character is always the first one to get killed in a horror movie. At
Right.
first we laugh at it, but then when we go back and look at it, then all of a sudden you start noticing a very disturbing is the fact that
Well, if it
yeah, a
becomes a
lot of
pattern,
times
yeah, sure.
yeah. I
But
don't think it's so much in today's world. I don't really see it in today, which is
yeah,
really good. But there's a time where that's what would happen. It's like the red shirt, from Star Trek. You're wearing a red shirt, you're gonna die in the first 15 minutes. We already
right.
know that. Um,
Yeah.
but
Uh,
it's almost like okay, you wonder if like how much of that is like driven by Hollywood. Like
mm,
I didn't know about the 8-minute horror, about the death thing until we heard that from Adam saying, yeah, we want a death every 8 minutes. Who knew?
yeah,
Who
I had
who
no
who knew
idea.
who knew that there's a blueprint into making a horror movie? Like, okay,
Yeah.
it's like I thought it was just you just went with what the story was, how it was written. I didn't
Hmm.
know that you have to have certain things for every
Yeah, I didn't
movie.
know that either. I'm looking
You
forward to
gotta
that
have a final. You gotta
documentary.
have a final. Your final girl has to be a virgin. You know, and it's like what? Yeah,
Why?
she can't be. But then you slowly see things get. As a film director, I'm sure you've seen like barriers have fallen. Like there's no more barriers in horror. It used to be
Yeah,
you couldn't kill animals, you couldn't kill kids. That's
exactly.
gone.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's
you're
gone.
right. And when I got attacked for the movie that I was just telling you about, there was a guy who made a movie called Hate Crime. All this movie is neo-Nazis break into the Jewish people's house during a bar mitzvah and kill them. And they loved the thing because at the end he put a disclaimer. This happens in the world. And so he's a genius, right?
Oh
But I
shit.
but I'm a homophobic asshole because I guess I should have put a disclaimer. It just I don't it's just a weird thing that I don't understand. It was a dumb movie that was supposed to be funny.
Horror fandom is a strange animal. It
Yeah,
really is. What people like today, they'll hate tomorrow.
yeah. So
It's I think the funniest thing between horror fans when I talk to them, I think the funniest thing is when you talk to them, they're like, so what kind of horror do you like? And it always makes me laugh when I hear the slasher fans. They'll watch a slasher movie,
mhm.
but they won't watch a supernatural. Oh, I can't watch that supernatural shit. I could go
Yeah.
watch I could watch Drew Barrymore get killed in front of her parents. Yay, 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 yay team. Right, yay team.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but when it comes down to like, making Linda Blair's head turn 360,
Something that's actually scary.
oh
Yeah. Right. Because the slasher's not, you know, they were always, in my day, they were considered to be kind of the low end of horror, the
yes,
slashers.
yeah.
Um,
I mean,
if
yeah,
you really
any
like
slasher
that, then
movie
you
is
were kind of a weirdo.
yeah. I mean, especially from the 80s. I mean, God Almighty,
Yeah, that's
you know who
great.
the slasher was every single time. There was
Hmm.
really no surprise once Mrs. Voorhees popped up. There was never
Yeah,
going to be any surprise except for
yeah. The guy
maybe
that gets
Sleepaway
teased
Camp.
in the beginning is obviously going to be the killer.
Right. I think the only movie that really surprised people with this ending was probably Sleepaway Camp. Let's give Felicia Rose a dingle dangle. Okay, well, that's different.
I think it's great
That's,
that she's still working and she loves to do horror. I think, amazing. But yeah,
yeah,
that was
she's gonna be in the new scary movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
how about that?
That's cool. I think Art the Clown's in it too.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
I love Art. Art's my favorite right now. He's my favorite major franchise
It's
character.
amazing that that guy filled a gap. Like he figured out what fans were going to go crazy over, and that thing's just huge. You know,
Yeah. Well,
huge.
David Howard Thornton, I mean, definitely I mean, it's one of those things where it's like there's part of me that really wants, I'm glad it's hitting. I hope the next movie really, really hits and that he's able to finally walk away. We don't need another
I
Andy
know.
Serkis. You know, we
And
don't want to. I don't want another. I don't want him to turn into another Andy Serkis. I want him, or Kane Hodder. I want him to be able to go out there and act and show his face.
me too. Me too. You know, we
And
don't
that's what
want
I
to
really
wear
want.
itself out and go into outer space or something.
No, no.
Um,
No, I just don't want that for the actor. I want him to be able to, okay, I'm putting this down, and now I'm going to do something else where I'm a character. Like I'm going to do a crime 101, or I'm going to
yeah,
do a beekeeper movie, or some shit like that, where he can
exactly.
actually
And same
show
for
his
the
face.
director. You know, I want to see what he's going to go on to do after this.
Um,
Yeah.
I remember when Andy Serkis, because at the time, he had done the Lord of the Rings, and he had done that voice motion. He'd done all that. No one had really ever seen his face until he did 13 going on 30, and lo and behold, there's Andy Serkis, and it's like, oh, that's who he is. Oh, well, why are they always burying that guy in makeup? He's not as ugly. He's a
Right.
great looking character. He's a great looking character actor. So why
Yeah.
can't we get him more in front of the camera? He's great. But it's just I guess, yeah, you just don't really want to see people like that get locked into stereotype. And
Yeah.
because we were talking about a movie, we were watching a movie last Sunday called The Midnight Man. And I told you about that
Mhm.
earlier about he put
Yeah.
both the movies. Well, what was really cool about it was that Robert Englund was in this movie and he was playing a doctor.
Hmm.
And he actually had a straight role. Like it was no hammy,
Yeah.
no chewing scenery. I mean, his role it wasn't the biggest, but it was him actually acting. He's sitting there like,
Right.
damn, all
Right.
right, look at him, good for him.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing with the guy, I forget, is it David Horton that does Art the Clown or something like that?
Yeah, David Howard Thornton.
You know, he's done the Mean One and the Steamboat Willie movie so far.
Yeah,
In the
in
Steamboat
Max.
Willie, it could have been anybody, but in the Mean One, he kind of acts like Art the Clown, but in a different costume. And I really like to see him break out of that,
Yeah.
like you're saying, and to where you don't know it's him, because he's not always doing the same gestures, and I think
See,
he's
I, I
because
I like I like fandom like this, where we talk about how, like, we actually genuinely care for the artist that's bringing us. Like, I don't look at it just as for the movie. I like looking at it for the artist behind it who's playing the part.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
have compassion for that artist.
right,
It's like that's what to me that's what makes a movie fan a real movie fan is that it's not like you just sit there and don't have any feelings for the actors you watch. You want them to make the right decisions. You want them to play
yeah,
the right parts. You don't want
right,
to see them exploited. Um,
exactly.
yeah.
Like Warren, the
So
guy, the guy was remembered for Cherry Pie, and he hated himself because of all the other music he did. No one cared. Just remembered him for that song Cherry
yeah,
Pie. But with yeah, I mean, with Thornton, I'm really curious to see what the director can do. If he can go on and have something else just as big, and go on to be
yeah.
a famous
The-
director.
I I think that's really what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to where they lay it down and then they'll sit there and try, and of course they have to know that the first two things that the first thing they do after this, David with showing his face and Damien directing his first film afterwards, they know that it's going to be compared to me. I would do the opposite of anything. I would not do a horror film.
Sure,
I would do a
sure.
comedy.
Yeah,
Just do
his
a
big
comedy.
influence was Mr. Bean,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
art
get
clown
out there,
guy.
do something. I mean, basically, do something where the fans can't come back at and go like, "Yeah, well, that's no art. Of course, it's not art to clown. It's a fucking comedy.
That's supposed to be art.
It's a comic heist. It's a crime caper. It's a mystery. It's a whatever it is. It's not going to be a horror movie.
Yeah, he
And
could.
you really hope that they can get out of that, and
Yeah,
get out of
you're
that
right.
typecast.
You're right. He
Um,
could be a great villain in a superhero movie or
he would be a
something
great superhero, because
like
the
the
reason why,
Joker. Right.
yeah, it would be interesting to see what would happen if he. It'd be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah,
Um,
well, it will.
okay. I think so. I think this is our pal Hobbs. I think this is our friend Hobbs. Says here, I want to see Scarlett direct a autobiography on the downfall of Prince Andrew.
Oh, jeez. You don't want me touching
Uh,
that.
yeah, yeah,
No.
Prince Andrew. Yeah, yeah. The downfall. Yeah, God, he's just a scapegoat. That's all he
Yeah.
is. He's just a scapegoat. No one else is gonna
Yeah.
fall.
I
Only
mean,
him.
everyone knows what he did already.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's like, come on. If you're gonna go out, you just can't.
we
You
made
just
an
can't go out.
arrest, so there's nothing to see here. That
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
So show us to release the rest of the files. Yeah. All right. I tell you what, we've hit our mark. And thank you all for coming out and watching our interview. So well, I guess my last question to you, Scarlett, will be what's coming up for you for 2026? What do you have? Got any filming plans? Any acting plans? What's going on?
Well, on the 28th, Horrorama comes out on VHS again. It's going to be limited. They redid the original cover, so that's really cool. And a new short I did for Ron on Amityville Infinity, which is part of a trilogy. It's the second movie in the 3-film trilogy. I
Okay.
did a short for that, and that's coming out really soon, probably within the next month. It's called Amityville Infinity. And then after that, I can't rest on my laurels anymore. So I'll
No.
have to start creating again. So maybe a sequel, maybe something new.
It
But
sounds like you have a busy. It looks like you're going to have a potential busy 2026.
yeah.
Look forward to seeing that. As for us here on the channel, we have our friend Ryan Conway will be here with us on Thursday. Real Talk with Ryan. He'll be here on Thursday at 8 o'clock. And after that, on the 29th of March, I have a big calendar to fill. On the 29th of March, for the ISC Midnight, we are actually going to be talking about the Babadook for the first time.
Cool.
Like I said, I know I can't believe it took us over almost 60 episodes to get to there. It took us almost 60 episodes to get to the Babadook, but we finally are making it there.
I have an IFC question.
I'm looking forward to it. I know that everybody's sitting there going like, the kid's he's insufferable. It's like, you know what? There's a lot of things that are insufferable in films.
Sure.
And of course, I think that's all I got. But come by next Thursday. Come by Thursday. I'm sure I'll have more dates filled out. I got some surprises up my sleeve, and I'm looking forward to sharing them all with you guys on Thursday. And of course, you also too. We put all the links to Scarlet down below, including him being a co-pilot on Madame Cadaver's horror group on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook and you want to go over and check out the latest horror reviews,
Yeah, Madame Cadaver's amazing.
You might even see something from me and the Cheetah. We might drop something in the group once in a while.
The reviews are great. They'll take you on a journey, but there's no spoilers.
Yeah. So I'm
writing
terrible at that.
Quick question: have you seen the Trespassers IFC movie?
I have that movie.
Is it good?
I haven't watched it yet. I
have it too. So.
That's with me with ISC though. I have like close to 300 of them, and so it's like, yeah, I love them. They're my favorite. They're definitely my favorite. Oh, all right. Joe is here. Says good evening. Good evening to you, sir. How are you? God, I've always wanted to get Joe on here, but we just can't find the time to do it. He's such a busy man, and every time we come up with some sort of action plan, it just doesn't work. But he's a tremendous He's a tremendous talent, and in fact, I think he's getting back in his own. I think he's actually going back to doing his podcast, from what I understand. Thank you very much, Christy. Thank you for staying here and enjoying it. We had a lot of fun, and we'll be back Thursday, 8 o'clock. Scarlet, stay right where you're at for a few minutes. And to the chat, we're out of here, and we'll see you Thursday night. Take care and peace. Okay. Okay, come on.